So at age 40, I became a Christian, and I was overboard, and I had a passion for this new life. I had a passion for this. I can't tell you how many people I ran off because I wasn't talented enough to talk about my passion, to talk about my faith, to talk about the fact that it doesn't matter if I sell or not, I still have value. I didn't know how to talk about it. I had rejection and refusal completely backwards because no one would die for me, yet 2,000 years ago, through grace, and I didn't understand grace. Because guess what? I had to make a sale to make a living. I had to work hard to get the next promotion. I had to do this to get that. Guys, gals, you have value whether you make a sale or not. Amen. You need to separate that. So I got excited about that, and I cannot tell you how passionate I was and how poor a communicator that I became. Put your talent ahead of your passion. Be talented enough to know how to use, how to communicate, how to influence, using your skills to influence somebody about your passion. Folks, I had to learn that the hard way. I had not learned it when I was your age. I learned it when I was 40. I keep learning it. You've got to be a constant learner. What I've learned from selling is a couple of things. Number one, you never graduate from it. You'll never graduate from selling. And as much as I love sales, I love the sales profession. Guys, this is the last thing I ever thought I'd want to do. I wanted to be a high school basketball coach in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So here's my question to you. By a show of hands, how many of you would admit that when you were getting into the business world, you're leaving school, getting into the business world, how many of you had a passion, a burning desire to be a professional salesperson? This is your lifelong, Doug, nobody raised their hands. So I wouldn't have raised my hand either. Now, next question. Why didn't you have this passion to be a salesperson? What negative words, negative connotations did you have about this thing called selling? Somebody raise their hand and give me a couple of them. Yes, ma'am. Rejection. Yes, ma'am. Pushy. Rejection. Yes, sir.
Talking to strangers.
Talking to strangers. Yes, ma'am. Slick. Yes, ma'am. Talking them into something.
Not meeting your goals.
Not meeting your goals. Can it stop right there? In your background, sometime in your life, you had a negative connotation about selling. What changed? Everybody's in sales now. Your sales organization is not your entire company. Your entire company is your sales organization because there's not one person that can't cost you a sale. So you had a crossroads, you had a turning point. Why did you go into sales? Yes, ma'am.
Got hungry.
Got hungry. And your name? And your name? Yeah, hold that. I'm going to use that line, thank you. Got hungry. Yes, ma'am.
Help other people.
You help other people. Yes, sir.
Necessity.
Necessity. Yes, ma'am. Family. Yes, ma'am.
Everybody needs this.
Everybody needs this. They've already bought it. All you're doing is substituting dreamer. Now, let me tell you something. I've asked this question from Indiana to Indonesia, and I get the same responses. Somewhere along the line, you made a new decision. Let me give you a great sales principle. Write this down because I stole this. If you steal from me, you're stealing twice. People make new decisions only when given new information. People make new decisions only when given new information. So somewhere along the line, you got new information. I was doing a program in Hartford, Connecticut with some stockbrokers. Now, you young people, they're called financial advisors now. And I asked the question, why did you go into sales? A guy raised his hand and said, I went into sales when my children found out other kids in the neighborhood were getting 3 meals a day. It was a way to provide for your family, to meet your goals, to be a dreamer, to be a leader. All the things Henry talked about up here. Folks, you don't make a new decision unless you're given new information. When you're selling, when you're marketing yourself, you're trying to build your business. If you give the same information in the same way, you're going to get the same decision. You need to adjust that. You need to learn that. I learned that. Let me tell you something. Selling is the hardest single thing I've ever learned to do in my life, because I thought selling was personality. I'm Irish, I'm last born, I'm a class clown, and I thought selling was personality. And for the first 6 years in sales, I failed. Now, look, I failed the same way you did, because guess what? We have a tendency to over-explain without value. You want to put their benefit above your purpose. You need to learn the skills to put your benefit first, then your purpose. Not, hey, I've got a great opportunity. My wife and I are excited about this. The purpose of my call, can you meet for lunch? Can we go to Starbucks? Have I given you any benefit? We found a way that Cindy could stay home and take care of our kids. The purpose of my call, can we meet for lunch? Can we meet at Starbucks? The benefit first, then the purpose. Guys, I had to learn that. I was raised the same way you were. Think about how you were raised. I was raised the same way you were. My mama told me, don't talk to strangers, don't ask people for money. So I go into sales. It's counterintuitive for a lot of it. It was for me. But folks, as much as I love salespeople and love the sales profession, I know that there's some yin and yang to it. So here's a couple of questions. In our minds, if you would, on this side of the table, what do you like about selling? What do you like about selling? I'm sorry, out loud. You like to meet new people, like to help solve problems, make a little bit of money, build your business. What do you dislike about sales?
I want it more for them than they want it for themselves.
Sometimes you want it more for them than they want it for. Ooh, hold on a second. That's good. That will be a Brian Flanagan original by 2 o'clock. I want it more.
There you go.
Coming your way. Yeah. Oh, nice catch. What do you dislike about selling?
The nose.
The no's, or rejection. Getting out of your comfort zone. And stop right there. What you like about selling? You like to help. You like to make money. You like to give people opportunity. You like all the good stuff. What do you dislike? There's rejection. There's uncertainty. Now, in your mind, if you could picture those words, what's the common denominator between what you like and what you dislike? There's not one policy or procedure or product on either side. What you like and what you dislike has to do with how you and I handle the emotional demands of the selling profession. More so than anything else. And look, I'm not an accountant. I don't have an analytical bone in my body. When my bank book doesn't balance, I change banks. But if you take a look at an accountant, how long is an accountant's reporting period? 30 days? 90 days? 360 days? How quickly do you as a salesperson get a report card? Every handshake, every door knock, and every phone call. You are going to hear no more often than other professionals. Every day you go into the marketplace and you're building a business and you're proud of it and you're excited about it. You've got a passion for it. You know that there's a dream at the end of this work. You understand that. And every day you go into the marketplace, you and I risk hearing no. Not all professions do that. Some do, but not all professions as much as we do. And you've got to be mentally tougher. You've got to be emotionally tougher. I was struggling as a salesperson. That doesn't mean I didn't sell a lot. I did sell a lot. I sold my furniture and I sold my car. So my wife said, Brian, you need to go see Mary. I said, Cindy, your friend Mary is a marriage counselor. She's not a career counselor. Well, I married a strong-willed woman, so I went to see Mary. And at the time, Mary is charging $100 an hour. I'm about to save you $100. We sit down, we talk. She said, Brian, you're so depressed that you actually look like the picture on your driver's license. Admit that you don't like to sell anymore. I said, Mary, I've been selling for 18 years. I've learned how to sell. I do like to sell. She said, okay. We talked a bit longer, and she said, admit there's a portion, there's an element about selling you don't like. With great enthusiasm, I said, I hate prospecting. I hate prospecting. It's debilitating, it's humbling, it's humiliating. Now write this down. Here comes a $100 value. That morning in Plano, Texas, at the second story of her office building, I said, I don't like prospecting. And here's what she said, $100. She said, that's okay. $50 a word. You don't have to like everything about your job to be outrageously successful at it. Folks, you know how liberating that is? You know how freeing that is? I'm sitting in her office at Chisholm Place in Plano, Texas, and she tells me that. And as a father, I'm sitting there. How many have kids? You'll understand. Good. How many don't have kids? And honestly, how many are too bitter to talk about it? Well, I had two kids in college at the same time. I was suffering from maltuition, you know. We were blessed. We adopted our children, so we had to qualify to be parents. Unlike a majority of people in here who created their children through unskilled labor. 5, count them 5, 4. 4. There's things about parenthood I don't like. I wouldn't change it for the world. Folks, there are things about this profession that you may not like, but you can still do it. And what happens when I gave her that money and I went down to my car, before I turned my car on, Henry, it dawned on me that I was a better prospector. Now here's the question. How much more did I know about prospecting after the session with Mary than I did before? None. What happened? I took my foot off my throat and gave myself permission to be successful. There ain't a person with RC, EC, NC, there's a lot of C's. There's not a leader in this organization that puts their foot on your brake. You do that yourself. They want you to be successful. They build success. That's why they're here. I've known Doug Parker. Doug Parker's had great